Good evening, friends, and welcome back to Live Reality Games, the place where we make our favorite games into our reality. We are here today to break down episode 3 of Survivor 42. I'm super stoked. I'm your host, Kirk, and with me is Keenan from Survivor British Columbia. We're both repping Survivor British Columbia. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good. I just watched the episode, and like every single episode of Survivor that has aired out this season thus far, there is much to discuss. There are
Yeah.
people on the bottom, people on the top, people making good moves, and people making bad moves, and everything in between.
Yeah, I think I have a lot to say about bad moves, just in my opinion, for today. So I can't wait to get into that with you, buddy. So we're doing something new. This episode, we are doing 2 episode breakdowns, kind of like Reddit. If you follow the Survivor Reddit posts, there is an Eastern Standard Time and a Pacific Standard Time Reddit for the live episodes, and we are doing that tonight. So we are the part 1 of the episode breakdown, British Columbia Takeover. Following us will be Lexi and Steven talking about the episode as well. You're going to see that at about, I'm assuming, like 11 p.m. to midnight Eastern Standard Time should come out, is my guess. Who knows? If I'm still up, maybe I'll bop on for a second. But anyways, we're here to tell you our hot takes about this piece first. So first off, Keenan, I'm just curious about your feelings about this season as a whole so far.
As a whole, I'm feeling it actually a lot more than Survivor 41. And Survivor 41 is the season that brought the field since it ended the Survivor withdrawal thanks to the pandemic. But I don't really compare it as well as like the live games. I've been a lot more into the live games this season. However, I think it's bringing a lot of the personalities back. And I like how they're actually, since season 41, what season 42 is doing, it's bringing the stories into this.
Yeah.
And this actually allows us to align with the cast and actually choose our favorite characters. It's like, say you're like, if you're playing a video game, like say Sonic, they're going to tell you the story about maybe Shao the Hedgehog, and you're almost going to align with it. He's going to be a favorite character to play as throughout the game, maybe. Yeah. So I
Keenan,
think they're really focusing on the characters very well.
Yeah. So who's some of your favorite characters so far?
Jason Momoa. I mean, Jonathan.
Oh, dude, we got to talk about Jonathan. Whew.
Yeah. I called him I called him Jason Momoa. He looks so much like him. And no, he's very much a Southern East Coast version of Ozzy Lust.
Absolutely. As I just showed that, I forgot to say this is going to be full of spoilers. So sorry to people who show up later and start watching this. If you haven't seen episode 3, go for the gusto. There's going to be a ton of spoilers. So make sure
I'm not sorry for spoilers.
All right. If you're here, you're a Survivor fan like us.
Yep. But
yeah, our friend Snyder's favorite was Zach, who was already eliminated. However, he is all over the past week because of Marion's love comments last week. We've seen a lot of Zach.
I kind of wish Marion got voted out that last round. I mean, just to be reunited with her crush. I mean, it would have been a love story for the ages, Romeo and Juliet. But if anything, I am also happy she survived because I think it's going to be really amazing to see what she does with what she's got in her pocket, which will be a topic for later.
Absolutely. Like at the very start of this episode, the very beginning, this has been 2 seasons of lots of players with very loose lips. Like not even loose. These are sloppy lips all over the place. Because Marianne comes back to camp and she's like, yo, everybody, I got an extra vote. Woo! How about me? And dude, Keenan, I was like, what? why are you telling everyone this? Like,
Oh,
what? How is this an advantage for you?
I mean, unless I'm shoved right in a corner, I'm not saying that. But there is a method to some madness, I think.
Okay,
Because
talk me through this. Talk me through the
talk,
madness.
well, this dates back to the Robert Crowley era in Survivor Gabon. He said, if people think you've got a gun, they won't go for you.
Oh, well, if you know my
And
gameplay from British Columbia, I think that applies as well. Oh my God, that's so true. Huh. Because it was so
yes,
fun. Because
and
you're right, Keenan.
but I
Because
mean,
Marianne said this. She said, "We got 5." She said, "We." So she's playing that extra vote as if it's the tribe's vote, not just hers.
yes. Given the fact that they have had a member lost by default as well, that puts them automatically behind. They're still behind. Like they have been like one of the better tribes in the challenges, but that doesn't matter. They're behind. So using something for the tribe, keeping a tribe strong game, it's a bit like it brings me to David versus Goliath a little bit, that they have to stay a little bit infractionable despite differences to preserve themselves. Then they could start being individuals. Then they could go a little crazy, and then they can make their moves. So this extra vote probably will be a good thing long term. Season 41, however, like despite everything that could have been used for the tribe, say example for UA, they got rid of that very, very early. It didn't matter. Like when Brad had all those advantages, it didn't matter. And I think that is the sole reason that there was not an UA representative in the finals.
So true. But also to your point, last season was terrible advantages. They were like all cursed. If you had an advantage, even if you had good gameplay, it was like your game just tanked suddenly if you had an advantage pre-merge. Once the hourglass hit, that was a whole different story. But it seems like everything pre-merge was just a bad idea. Don't risk your vote. Don't pick up beware advantages. I thought it was detrimental to a lot of people. I even think it was detrimental to Shan's game. I think Shan eventually had like so much power too early in the game that it was. But anyways, that's 41. We're talking about 42. Let's do a
Yes,
quick.
we are.
Keenan. Let's recap the abilities and advantages that are currently in the game. So let's start with Vati. So down here we have Mike sitting with the beware advantage. So he currently cannot vote. And we have to remember from episode 1, Hai also has the amulet of power, or just amulet, whatever it's called.
Um, yeah, it's just an like right now. I think it's an extra. It's an extra vote, and the less people with that amulet there are, it becomes more powerful. It takes a step up.
Correct. So right now, like for example, Hai, if he had played his amulet, it would have been worth nothing because all amulets that are in the game have to be played at the same time for the power to activate. That's the kind of crux of the rule. And I want to get to the beware rule really quick because that really confused me today. But those are the two advantages on Vati. On Ika, our girl Drea is sitting in the driver's seat with an extra vote, and she also has one of the 3 amulets.
Yes, I do think she's doing pretty well there. However, those might not matter too much because she's also becoming a very huge target, as we saw in the second episode.
Too true. And she's also, as we saw Keenan, she's also has the curse of loose lips, and she's telling maybe too many people about said powers. So is it going to be a revolver that protects you, like you said, Bob Crowley said, or is it going to be a revolver that gets turned on to her later in the game?
There's just really a time and place, I think.
Yeah.
Like there's like you have to read the room. You have to be very sure before you use anything. No, like this, like if it just gets wasted for the sake of being wasted, it's not useful. that it just loses the meaning of the advantage that was supposed to be given to you. Like it's like they need to have the fine print choose wisely on there.
Yeah.
But no, I think I don't think Drea is quite running the tribe with that. Like she might gain a little bit of the the little cult following with the what's the blue tribe called again?
That's Ika.
Ika. I know it's Taku Vati Ika. Okay, got it.
Yep.
All
Yep.
right, yeah.
So yeah, and let's get to Taku. Taku is interesting because they lost a member of Jackson being medically evacuated. Then they went to one tribal council. So they're already down two. They're essentially playing the final four of Survivor, which most players will never even experience until day like 35 in traditional Survivor. So they're having to get to these small numbers super quick, but it seems to be bonding this group of four. We have currently Lindsay has the third amulet. I do not think we have seen Lindsay tell anyone about this yet. So she is not a victim of the loose lips.
She is not a talker. She's a listener.
Absolutely.
Every time she needs to speak, it's a confessional. Like I mean, it's pretty rare you see someone with a little bit more confessionals not seem as powerful. But in this case, like she's not seeming like a big character, but she's someone you have to keep a sharp eye on because she's reading the room. She's reading the room before taking any action, and she's actually she's listening to people. Like she's wanting to get the input first before putting a name down to paper and before making a call.
And then there are two more advantages on this tribe. So this is the tribe that has currently the most advantages in the game, even though they're not all advantageous right now. We have Marianne, who has earned an extra vote. As we said, she has told everybody on her tribe. And she also unwittingly found the beware advantage. Her tribe decided to go look for idols together, and she luckily found the beware advantage and kept it. What do you think about that, Keenan?
Well, I think like we are talking about 42, but 41 exposed a lot of the dangers of finding the advantage in a group. But the problem is this looks like a united enough group where if they avoid tribal council for the rest of the game, this could have an effect. Like these guys look way too united to want to turn on each other. Marianne might unfortunately be the victim if they have to go, just because she's been very loose on it. Plus, they know the phrase now. She's disposable now that they'll know the phrase to say when the time comes, and if they lose.
That's so true. Here's a question. So let's say Marianne gets voted out with the idol. So it's going to be with the beware advantage, excuse me. So it would be re-hidden like last season. But let's say you're Omar and you already memorized the clue. And then you hear Mike say the clue. And let's say, we're guessing Tori finds it based on the promos. It seems like Tori is going to find one of the beware advantages. That's all conjecture. But let's say they say it. If you also say it, even though you don't have the beware advantage, does that activate the other two idols?
I don't think it does. I don't think
Okay.
it does. We have to actually just go to probes for the real answer, but I think they would actually actively try to find it and put it in their possession so they can't say it.
That makes sense.
It would be an Easter egg hunt for sure.
It would be confusing to the other players because Mike would then be like, oh, my idol is active. This should work. And then he'd go to try to play it and then it wouldn't. And so that's a little confusing. There's a couple like rules clarifications that I think are necessary because when Marianne pulled out the rules, it said, you must say this at the next challenge. Mm-hmm. But Mike didn't say his. So you must not have to say it, right? I'm confused.
Well, the thing is, Kirk. I think you would have to say it, but you would find out if it's useful or not if you have a vote. Literally, if you walk down to the tribal council urn and you're ready to vote, that is a telling factor of whether your idol is useful or not. Because while it is not intact, you can't vote. Because as we've seen, Mike has the beware advantage. He actually never even said his phrase, and his phrase is revolving around soccer, and that is why he could not vote. But I don't think we're quite at the point of tribal council yet, are we, Kirk?
No, we're so far before that. I was gonna just kind of show the alliances by lumping some people together. So Omar and Jonathan still have your bromance going on. Lindsay kind of hanging, and Marianne kind of hanging next to that power duo. For Ika, which this episode, if you want to see stuff about Ika, this is not the episode to watch. There is really very little we're gonna get from this tribe for this entire episode. In my
Who's
opinion.
Ika? Who's Ika?
Who's the Blue Tribe?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. But they weren't seen today. Who's Ika?
Yeah. So you kind of have this as kind of what's going on, and I say kind of because I don't really totally know. You have Romeo Roxroy with Drea, and then Drea trying to also work with Swathi and Tori. Swathi, though, not trusting Drea. That's kind of what we got.
Swathi, I think's running the tribe.
Ooh, that would be fun.
No, I think she is. She is. Everybody there trusts her, and it's not like, oh, she's the innocent 19-year-old. Trust me. No, she's actually making connections, and she's actually got the maturity way above her years with that tribe, maturity wise. Like, she's right on the par, and she's the youngest in the cast. I think she is going to be a very, very, very hidden threat in the end. And none of them are going to really realize it until it's too late. It sounds like a very generic thing to say, but there's nothing really else to say on the topic. The Ika tribe does become a bit relevant to talk to as today's runners-up of the challenge. Roxroy, old man dad, comes in throwing. Just like how you would on a grass field, baseball glove in your left hand, tossing your son.
So true, yeah. And he hangs in there when it gets brutally tough. I mean, we see what it was either Mike or Roxroy. It looked like their head was almost hit into one of the platforms out there in the water during the challenge.
Oh, I saw Mike with the ladder around his neck.
Yeah.
The fucker could have drowned. Is he crazy?
Yeah, I mean that looked so bad. We're gonna get to that. Let's break down the really interesting tribe is Vati, and they are going to go to tribal council, as you know. This tribe starts off like this, but we're going to come back to this screen a little bit later because this is not at all what shakes out tonight. And I think this is an episode that's going to be talked about for many, many years to come based on how far it went in tribal council. So it's 3 pairs. Yeah, so I think we get right to kind of talking about the episode now, buddy. Yeah. Marianne starts off with some great quotes or just great like quips. She says, after she tells them we got 5, what does she say? Oh my goodness, fudge shiz when she realizes the beware advantage. But my favorite is she said something about like, I've seen everything except 6 episodes of Tocantins. What was that?
What the hell did those 6 episodes of Tocantins do to you?
So maybe I went back and I said, I thought maybe it's the last 6 episodes. So I counted back. I went to the wiki page and 6 episodes back is Coach's episode called The Dragon Slayer.
Boy, they.
I don't know what that means.
That's like, oh boy, like who does not get annoyed by Coach? Whoever doesn't is certifiable.
So maybe she was irritated with the characters in Tokachins. It looks like Keenan's internet just went out, so I'm just gonna keep talking until hopefully he bops back in. Um, so Vati, this tribe, let me tell you,
Sorry about that. Sorry about
it's all
that. My Facebook crashed. I'm using my cell phone.
it's all good. And my Facebook was just being funny too, and my screen literally just popped in and out. So if we both disappear, everybody, we'll be right back.
That was probably from my end, Kirk. Don't kick yourself, but
Well,
no.
our buddy Snyder in the comments is like, Coach is one of his favorites that season. You know, the thing about Coach is
Whoops.
he's hot and cold. That's why he's popular, and that's why people talk about him, right? Because they like him or they don't like him. He's not moderate. He's not in the middle.
Yeah. Devil's advocate, though, I did think he played really well in South Pacific. And
Give credit where credit's due. That's kind of a hot take. A lot of people don't think that, Keenan.
yeah, I mean, I think he did good, but however, after I did see Winners at War, you do become a lot more accepting of Sophie's victory, honestly. Like, you look back and you think, yeah, I could be okay with that. Like, it allows your opinion to change.
That's so true. I always liked Sophie's game. I did. When I watched it the first time even. I gave her credit, but it was I would have voted for either of them, I think, from watching it at home. But anyways, let's talk Vati, we get to them next. And Daniel is a hot mess. He is losing stuff. They're saying this is common. He can't ever find anything. His first quote of the episode is literally like Charlie Brown. He says, "Good grief." I was like, I don't think I've ever heard a person actually say "good grief" in real life, unless it was like on a Charlie Brown cartoon.
I'm born in '96, so I never really watched those, but I have a gut feeling that where his head's going is he's going to be falling on it when some gal is taunting him with the football, and he's just going to slip and crack. You know, I think he did that this game. He really slipped. He dropped that football.
Oh, he slipped. He even slips a lot of stuff into his crotch, literally and figuratively. And I'm not even going to talk about British Columbia.
Oh,
but
what a relevant topic.
What a relevant topic if you know the games we've played, let's put it that way. But that said, I was really dismayed. So let's break this whole thing down. So Mike has the beware advantage. So Daniel gets paranoid and needs to read the paper. So he gives him the paper. He gives him everything to read. And Daniel goes and reads it and then instantly puts it in his underwear.
At least Mike's not going to want it back.
Oh my God.
I mean, it's absolutely sick-minded, but it's sick-minded to do if that's his ulterior motive. But I mean, he may have just left Fiji in a straitjacket after that, but still.
Oh my gosh. No, this could be some like reverse psychology Richard Hatch shit going on right now because then he comes back, right? And he gives him the paper. And then he's like, "Oh, this isn't, where's the idol?" And he's like, "I don't have the idol." And then he's like, "I don't have the idol either." So then they go and look for it. This is exactly like the last episode where Mike lost it, and now Daniel has lost the idol. I don't know.
They got butter for fingers there. They keep slipping.
And it's slipping into their pants because they go back to the place where they thought they lost it. And if I'm not wrong, it was still in his underwear.
I'm about to Charlie Brown myself.
Out,
good grief.
Pulled out the little thing and was like, "Oh yeah, it was there." How do you not notice the amulet idol advantage, whatever it is, resting next to your skin?
How do you not see your idol on your idol? Yeah, I agree.
Thank you. So this was a whole thing. So maybe it was reverse psychology. Like he's like, oh, this dude won't want this. I mean, it is Survivor. Nobody, they're all dirty. Nobody actually cares. But I thought it was pretty funny that he placed it in his drawers when he probably could have just walked it back to him and Jenny and been fine.
In Canada, we say is gitch.
What's that? What's a gitch?
It's the, like, you know how you said drawers? Same thing.
Oh, okay. All right.
It's a Canadian slang.
I love that. So my cousins are rappers in Toronto. So I have family in Toronto. And anyways, when I was a kid, when we would get in lines, and somebody would get in front of you in line, we would always say, you cut me in line. But my relatives in Toronto would always say, you butt me in line. And I was always like, what? Why do you say butt me and not cut me? But they said it was slang.
That's I hear that way more common out here in Vancouver too.
Really? Okay. So yeah, regionalisms, they're amazing.
Yeah. But back on this topic of Survivor, Fati is a very hot mess, and Daniel is not helping it. He's fanning the flames. But the thing is, he's doing well, at least with not being a target, at least pre-tribal council. He knows how to at least keep it in. Tribal council, that is the place where paranoia sets in. But the thing with Daniel, he owns it at least. He owns that he's going to be a little bit paranoid, and yet everyone else thinks that he's just going to be perfectly normal, stick to the plan. Everybody goes into tribal council thinking there is a set plan, and I think they think that Daniel just discussing what's on his mind, it's just par for the course, like what they see on regular Survivor as the episode rolls on, and there's going to be nothing of it. They think their plan is just going to come into fruition.
And it's so not. And I mean, the writing is on the wall. The entire the dramatic irony, the way they edited it, which is, if you don't know what that is, that's when the audience knows more information than the players. That was fantastic tonight, because we were able to piece together the pieces. And I don't know about you, but here we knew it was going to be a tie well before it tied. Like, we were like, this is a tie episode. It can't be anything but a tie.
I mean, I think that does sound possible, because if there's a plan out there pre-tribal council that's too good to be true, probably is.
That is such a good point, because if it seems easy, something else is happening.
It ain't easy.
It's not easy. Survivor ain't easy. So before we get to all of the tribal dynamics, let's really break down the challenge. CBS promoted this challenge like crazy. Last week, I saw people being swept out to sea. I was so worried. And the challenge is basically, of course, start in the water and go to land, like always. So we start in the water. We essentially get a ladder from out of the water, raise it up to get a key, which is already very difficult, and then take that to land and throw sandbags on 5 stands, and then you win immunity and reward. Reward being a toolkit and fruit, and if you don't want the fruit, you can get fishing gear. And if you lose Flint. This challenge did not go how Survivor expected, did it, Keenan?
No, I mean, at least, like, nobody drowned. At least everyone's safe, so that's truly what matters. It would have been awful for the lawsuits, but at the same time, also what just kind of just gives you a bit of saving grace is at least the two tribes that got the key just handed to them were super even, and at least the Orange tribe had already won immunity, bare minimum. I mean, it's not like they were just in the lead and they said, I'm going to hand you your key. These guys had to work for it, but I'm just going to hand it to you. But I mean, you kind of become okay with them getting handed the key just because Orange has already blown the competition out of the proportion, largely due to Jonathan.
This dude is a horse. Like seriously, he had people on his back. he carried that entire ladder on his own and it was tall enough to still like breathe.
Yeah. And see, just and looking at like this is a challenge used last year, famously messed up by money JD Robinson. But no
I forgot. Yeah, that's
but
good.
no, even without that, even like with Jonathan doing what he did, those targets look atrociously hard to land. Like you have to be so technical. You have to throw perfect. You have to aim perfect. There's no in between with hitting those targets, and they're so tiny and they're
I
so
know.
scattered.
It's like this big.
Yeah, I would be scared of knocking a bag off
Yeah.
with my throws. Like that is, I would participate in that challenge because I like throwing things, but I know that things are risky.
Yeah. So the other hard part about this challenge was simply getting the ladder up and then putting the ladder up, and then someone had to climb up the ladder, being held by humans in the ocean. This ladder is just made out of rebar. It's not like some like well, it was welded there on Survivor, clearly. And these huge ocean swells come up and start drifting the players back. So, okay, so I live on a Great Lake. Lake Michigan gets some pretty big waves, but we don't get oceanic waves at all. But still, we get undertow. And I know exactly what that feeling is where you're swimming and you're not going anywhere. You're not going closer to the shore. You're not drifting. You're literally in the same spot because the swell is just literally keeping, and you're putting all your effort into swimming. That starts to actually panic some people because they realize they're just they're not going anywhere. And especially if you can't touch the ground under you in the ocean, I could see these players having massive anxiety and panic in those moments. So I can understand why they called it. There's nobody else like Jonathan on Ika or Vati. Nobody else.
Well, where he lives, he already goes out to spearfish.
Yeah.
He practices day in, day out.
So yeah, this is one of those I was watching this with Nick, and Nick was like, I can't believe they cast somebody that's so much bigger than other people on the other teams. And I think this is actually a very cultural conversation. I don't want to really take it anywhere else, but like talking about advantage or disadvantage in sport based on physicality, I think is a very real thing. But I don't really want to get into that here, but I think it very much touches a pulse of what people are talking about in society today, especially with Olympics. So I have no personal opinion on it.
Nor do I.
I actually was really impressed with the fact that they did call it, because this is what I see, Keenan. I go to a lot of these games, and a lot of times the games will put in, let's say, an endurance challenge, but they don't have time to do like 4 hours. This happened to me in British Columbia. I played an endurance challenge that went on too long, and they had to change the rules of the challenge in order for us to finish faster. So in a lot of these live games, they call these the lemon rule. So if the game is a lemon, or like if the participants can't complete the puzzle, or it's taking too long, we have a rule set aside to make this challenge go faster and result in a winner. This is the first time we've ever seen Survivor do it, but we have seen LRGs do it for over 10 years consistently. So even though Probe said this was the first time, I'm kind of surprised it was the first time that this would have happened.
Yeah, this was the first where they did have to make things a little bit easier for some people. But it probably won't be the last.
Probably not.
I have to find. I got to find a. Are we able to do this without headphones by chance?
If it works for you, I'll let you know if there's any echo, any feedback. Okay.
Right. I just have to go. Because the current port for my headphones is what I charge my phone on. My phone's running a little bit low on battery.
We're good. We got you. If you have to leave for a second, I'll keep it rolling for while you're getting charged. So, anyways,
dude, you're the best.
You're the best. British Columbia. British Columbia is the best, everybody. Anyways, so Mike and Roxroy land 4. They need to get the 5th. Jonathan's already won. Chanel comes in to try to land the 5th, and Drea comes in. Drea is actually the one who lands the 5th. That's like Ika's whole storyline. We're going to get a little bit more, but not much. Well, and then they get to choose who goes to Shipwreck Island. We are going back to risk our votes, even though we all don't necessarily like it. There is a little bit of feedback, but no, it's gone now.
But yeah, this further sinks Ika's relevance in this episode, despite their victory, because they going on this summit is Omar and Chanel, both people from one from the winning tribe, one from the very bottom tribe for this episode, and both risk their votes. Both know they have lost their votes. I'm not sure if Omar knows he's lost his vote, but this is rather. It's, I don't know whether to be disappointed by it or to be like be a little bit happy for it, because long term it does make things interesting.
Oh, that's true. That's true. I just want to comment on Jay Lane. Jay Lane just mentioned Chanel threw overhanded and thought that was the wrong technique. I agree with that sentiment. I think underhand probably would be the best, most likely.
Well, underhand works for most, but going back to BC in the first immunity challenge, tell that to Liam Marshall.
Okay, true.
But just on those on the very rare instances. But no, I do think that actually that is an error for that particular challenge, because you'll like I said, you can knock a sandbag off, or you could just, or say you hit the top. You hit the top. It could be like a little domino effect. They all fall.
Yeah. That'd be tragic.
That's an out there thing that would happen, but it's possible. I think I don't think Chanel should have risked her vote. I know that she wants to play this game. There's big move fever going on in this game, I think. And this is a case with Survivor 41 when people just get real fever to do big moves for the sake of it. I'm a victim of it too. I'm not one to judge, but in this case, I think you got to know when you struck oil when you're drilling. When you struck oil, you got to stop.
I still don't understand her conversation. She said that she wanted her vote. She told Omar she wanted to protect her vote. However, she then risks it. It seems to me that she did the exact opposite of what she wanted to do.
Well, what's up? Hey guys, what's up? Just doing a live interview for the last Survivor episode. My roommate / cousin has just gotten home. But no, I think that everything in my life is just coming on to fruition, as you can see. But no, that is a pretty funny thing. But greed can bite you in the butt there. When you get a little bit greedy, you bite off way more than you can chew.
So interestingly, while Chanel makes the worst choice of her entire game so far, we see on day 7 at Vati, ironically, we see Lydia, Hai, and Daniel all talking. And they say, or Hai says, the 3 of us can't be seen talking.
Yeah, well, I mean, I have seen Daniel work with every single group there. And I've seen kind of the younger group kind of format and click. I think Hai, like Daniel's in his early 30s, but I think they are kind of relatively the younger crowd. I know Lydia's quite a youngin, but I don't know why I don't know why Lydia became the target that episode, because the previous episode, it made it really seem like Mike was public enemy number one.
Right after that, we see Daniel go to Jenny and Mike and say, "We have Chanel. We're 4."
Yeah.
This is their first tribal council, and Daniel has already wittingly put himself in a place where he's going to betray people. What do you think about that gameplay? Is that good? Is that
I
just
think-
playing Survivor? Or is that part of the game?
I think but one word to describe it is messy. I think when like Mike was already in Daniel's spot for the messiest player there was. Let him take that title. Don't try to run and compete for that. Don't. But very miraculously, they both dodge bullets without votes too.
Yeah.
That's just called playing miraculous.
Yeah. I mean, Lydia is aware her name is being thrown out. She talks about it. Chanel comes back to camp and talks to Daniel right away. And everybody wants to see Chanel. Chanel is the hinge factor of this vote. And what Chanel doesn't know is Chanel doesn't have a vote. But we know it.
Oh yeah, we know.
Oh, it's bad. So this is the dramatic irony I'm talking about, folks. That's what makes this episode so good, because they start moving wheels around. We know that both Mike and Chanel do not have a vote. Let's go back to the picture. I think this will make it clearer for people. We're aware that these two are voteless. And we're also aware that these two want to stick together, and Jenny is on their side. And now we're left with Daniel in the middle, but Daniel is telling us that he's really with them. And I think we can go to tribal council, to be honest. I think we're pretty much there, because tribal council was about a third of this episode.
I think a third's actually quite a good, accurate way to describe it. Daniel is clearly the star, despite not getting any votes nor going home. But like you could tell that the paranoia he describes about, you can't say he didn't warn you. At least he's put himself in a position where they can't say that he didn't warn him about being this paranoid. He is practically saying, I'm messy. Don't work with me. Don't work with me. Please. Red flags, red flags. He's waving them in the air.
He's waving them.
Go on, Kirk.
There's one more thing I forgot to mention. There is Chanel's. Chanel did have a game plan. Her game plan was to split the vote. And in theory, this could be a 2-2-2 or a 2-1-1 type of. A little bit of feedback here from you, Keenan. You might want to mute yourself when you're not talking.
What? Oh, think I want to mute myself when I'm talking?
When you're not talking.
All right. There's my mic right there.
There's a voice coming through when I speak on your end.
Sorry about that.
It's all good. It happens when you don't have earbuds in. But what I was going to try to say is that Chanel tried to split that vote. I think correctly from her position, she thought that was the best way to make sure that Lydia went home. I think they were all incorrect on this, Keenan, except for Jenny at the very end, who could have maybe prevented this from happening. Clearly, Chanel could have prevented it had she just protected her vote. None of this would have happened.
I would agree I do agree with you there. But what would be the fun in that? In addition, I think I do. I think that the real star of this vote was High, actually, because he stood his ground. High saw Lydia as a viable option, and he wanted to stick. He was willing to stick his neck out and save her. He took a calculated risk. He stood his ground, and he's a small, not very intimidating guy. He's a vegan. There's no intimidation there, yet he stood headstrong, and he got Daniel hook, line, and sinker to switch things over. And Daniel might have just landed himself in the deepest of Dutch because of this. And now High is sitting pretty.
And Keenan, did you realize the question that it was that caused this was the most simple question ever? Jay Lane, I'm going to get to your comment in a second because I love that comment. But Jeff Probst looks at Daniel, I think it was. Well, Chanel, did you see Chanel? Chanel's at tribal council like this. She is reading everybody's facial expressions. She's literally not even looking at the camera or Jeff Probst. Like, she's looking right at their faces, turning completely to the side, looking for any telltale signs of a lie. And then Jeff Probst asks Daniel, who calms you down? And he says, Mike and Jenny. Mic drop. Mic drop. What the hell? That was terrible. That was terrible. I don't know what Daniel's actual intention was for this tribal council. I know, Keenan, you're saying he got away with no votes. Miraculously, he was in the middle. But my God, like, what is that? Like, who calms? And then after that, he said his mother. Mike, Jenny, and my mom calmed me down. And so let's get back to Jay Lane. That's why he won't win Survivor 42.
Well, I think Daniel was also talking about that his girlfriend calms him down, but he's right. He is on everybody's. He's on everybody's good side about one thing. Probe sure as hell does not calm anybody down.
And High was definitely not calmed down after Daniel said that. In fact, High was very alert.
He was alert, but he kept his cool, and yeah. I don't see High going anywhere from this tribe anytime soon.
Not anymore.
Not anywhere dangerous, but he's like for someone who does have who is the most different on that tribe, he's fitting in like a glove. And I'm just gonna say he's the star of this tribal council too, so he's got that under his belt. I think he is the pivotal player of this vote, because him standing his ground is why Jenny went.
Yeah. So what's interesting as well, as Keenan is saying, so Daniel has just said that Jenny and Mike were the closest to him. Was he lying? Well, clearly Chanel was supposedly closer, but right after this, it's going to get messy. And if you see in the comments, people are already talking about what we're about to talk about, because it gets bad. So if you know Survivor, there are many things that happen if there is a tie vote. And what happens is it is a tie vote because Mike and Chanel cannot vote. Their votes are negated, and they literally get a piece of paper that says return to your seat. I'm a teacher, and if the people from Survivor could just write those for my frequent students that can never sit down in their seats when they need to, I'd love to have a little parchment from Survivor that said return to your seat. I don't know if I could ever have that happen, but that would be a dream of mine for my classroom. Anyways, but then Jenny and Daniel vote together. Daniel does not vote with High. High and Lydia vote together. Lydia receiving 2 votes, Jenny receiving 2 votes. No votes cast here. Then they go to a revote. These 2 can't vote. So it's only 2 votes. So High votes, Daniel votes, 2 votes get revealed. High is like, what is happening? And Jeff Probst then reveals we have to tell you who doesn't have a vote. I don't think they planned this through. I don't think the whole production team thought through this phase of their secret advantages, that they would have to reveal it if it went to a consensus vote. So in Survivor, if 2 votes don't land, the people who still have the ability to vote, as we know now, get to then decide via consensus, not majority rules, who can leave. Similarly to the last 2 votes. In fact, all of the votes we've seen so far in Survivor have been essentially unanimous votes now in some way or another. So then we have a consensus vote, or it goes to rocks. If it goes to rocks, here is Daniel's predicament. So he says he's with them. If he goes to rocks, 1, there's a 25% chance he leaves. But there is also a more likely percentage chance that somebody from his supposed alliance leaves. Now, Daniel's also over here, so he could maybe flip in that direction. But Daniel is in a problematic position. Like, if he flips, he now has betrayed 3 people, going to be 2 in the game. And if he flips this way, he's also betraying 2 or 1 persons in the game. There is no win scenario for Daniel, in my opinion. There is only survive and get by. But you're not winning this round. You're not walking away as MVP of the tribe. What do you think, Keenan?
Oh, like what? How Daniel stayed is a miracle, but he's not. You're right, Kirk. He's not a winner by any stretch. He's got a bullet in his foot, but he's got to work very hard to get it out. I think he has to do a lot of trust building. It's a very uphill climb.
His best thing would be a swap. There's no swap happening. You know, Daniel's reminding me of Cochran 1.0 when he should be trying to play like Cochran 2.0.
I agree there, Kirk, but Cochran 2.0 had someone who was aligned with Cochran 1.0, and that was a little bit of a help to him. Not that Cochran 2.0's winning game was bad. It was very fantastic, but I think there's the good thing. The good news for Daniel is that this is still day 7. That's the good news there, and if he is to go a little further in this game, he's got time.
He's got, well, they're 33% of the game done, Keenan. In my, like, it only goes to day 26.
Yes, but I mean it might be done, but he's still got 66% of the game to go.
Yeah. Okay. True that. I'll hand you that. So Jenny is unanimously voted out with 2 votes.
Yep. I mean, by statistic default, it's still a unanimous vote, but it's not a united vote by any means.
Oh, this tribe is a mess going forward. I don't see how this tribe sticks together.
They are spelling the word bagong right now.
Are we seeing the opposite of last season? Could we see the tribe that has the least amount, or not the least, the tribe that has 4 players stick together this time, perhaps? As last season, we saw, I think it was it Luvu? Or
Luvu stayed fully intact till merge.
Yeah, not Luvu, the Tiffany's tribe.
Yasa.
Yasa seemed like they were going to stick together, and then they broke into fractures and splinters come merge.
You can blame Rihanna for that.
Yeah. And maybe knowledge is power advantages.
Yeah. No, well, I mean, that advantage speaks volume to the game. And you point out about Chanel reading everybody in the room. Knowledge is going to be power. And that's playing a part right now across all 3 tribes. There was last episode, we see Swathi gain knowledge about every single person on the tribe. On Taku, we have is the dietitian's name Lindsay?
Is this Lindsay? I don't. Is she a dietitian? I don't know.
Yeah, that's. I mean, if that's Lindsay, the white one.
Yeah, that's Lindsay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. The dietitian girl. I think she is using just knowledge is power, just as her own move without having the actual advantage. Like that's what she's doing as well. She's reading everybody in the room. She's probably the most safe come emerge amongst that group, and then amongst the Green Tribe, we already talked about her. Chanel, she's read everybody. She's the knowledge is power star of Vadi.
Absolutely is. This is interesting too. Daniel then, and we didn't mention this. Daniel got in a serious argument with Chanel then at Tribal Council that seemed to be a little bit personal because it was betrayal. And I think this is going to come to haunt both of them later on in the season. I don't know if it's going to seal his vote home, but I think it seals their fate to not work together henceforth in this game.
If the other tribe sees, like if everyone else sees how divided they are, they will take advantage of that, and that tribe's going to be cannibalized.
Absolutely.
They're a member away from being tied with the rest of the competition. And I mean, it's going to be ugly, but it's going to be a really, really bring the popcorn ugly.
Yes. So Keenan, before we end this, who do you want to go super deep in this game? Who are you really rooting for?
As of now, Jonathan.
Yep.
A part of me just having a lot of just Daniel's tendencies and gameplay myself, being a little paranoid. A part of me wants him to make up for his mistakes and go deep. And I also Marianne is her name.
Oh, yes.
I am super curious on what she's gonna do. I want to see her go a little further. I'm actually I'm in one of the Survivor BC group chats right now, and everyone's calling her the most annoying person on the planet. But with everything she's got right now, if she could do some proper damage control, that she might just change the game.
Why? Okay, so I understand all of my BC friends and all of the other Marianne haters out there. And here's the thing. I like happy people. I don't understand why happy people get such a bad freaking rap to non-happy people. Y'all need to just like suck on some sunshine for a second, go ride a unicorn and go slide down a rainbow and hang out with Marianne and me.
Hey, I'm down, but I also have been. I guess everyone else's favorite song is Garbage's "I'm Only Happy When It Rains."
Exactly.
Whenever there's a Marianne hater, we're just gonna play that song. Pour some misery down on me.
Don't get us copy struck, Keenan. We don't need this taken down. So this has been a blast. I'm going to really quick recap the Survivor 42 live reality game draft. And right now, we have the game is changing, my friends. Brody and Jillian are in the lead with 12 points. Who knows if anybody's going to catch up? I am there in second or third place and with 10 points. Rocky has 9. Nikki has 9. And Cam, I'm so sorry, Cam. If you notice, Cam's only unique pick got voted out tonight with Jenny. So he's left with Drea and Chanel. I'm sorry, Cam. I don't know if you're going to win this one this season, buddy. But
Chanel,
that's the update. There's always hope. Who knows? Drea and Chanel could be the final 2 for all we know, and he still wins the draft. That said, Before we leave, I have one more thing to tell you guys. There is another recap breakdown happening. We're going to do a Pacific Standard Time one in just a couple hours with Steven and Lexi from Survivor British Columbia. I didn't play with either of them. Did you play with either of them, Keenan?
No, I have not played with either of them. I've had Lexi over at my house for a Survivor viewing party before. Her and Aleem came with Kevin from season 7.
Yeah, I totally remember Aleem and Kevin as well.
Yeah. I for Survivor 41, I always had people over for viewing parties, and that week that Lexi and Aleem came, Kevin Gannett came. So, but I haven't played with Lexi before. I've never played with Steven. We've obviously talked about the season and everything. However, I'm really looking forward to catching this interview with them. I'm probably going to be catching it a little bit late, but regardless, I'm excited. I can't wait to see another opinion, whether it's same, different, somewhere in between. And I hope everything goes well on your end too, Kirk.
Yeah,
always happy to talk.
Man, it was a blast having you today and having a couple drinks with you as we talk about our favorite show. It's always a good time. And just a shout out to British Columbia, because there is another season coming out soonish, I believe. So follow on Facebook. You might see live streams there. Potentially, they've done that in the past, but you'll definitely find some of the best episodes of Survivor. I mean, I'm not just saying that because I'm in one of the seasons, but some of the best episodes of Survivor you can watch anywhere at Survivor British Columbia on YouTube. Check it out, my friends. There is some good stuff. They're calling me out. Jillian is the head of the Happy Tribe, not Kirk. Okay, just because I'm moody, I'll give it to Jillian because she is our charity queen of survivors. Keenan, it was a blast. To all of you in the comments today, you were amazing. You guys just lit it up. You had so many spicy opinions. Please come back later and watch the Pacific Standard Time if you're still awake. And if not, come join me next week where we break down episode 4 of Survivor 42. Keenan, it was a blast, buddy.